Welcome back to Retail War Games. Today we have Trevor Farnes, CEO of Mtn Ops, with hosts Jeff Erickson and Jeremy Brockbank. We hope you enjoy.
So I was right in the middle of the startup ecosystem.
Yeah.
And one of the companies I came across when I was at Carta was this little company called Forecaster.
Oh, yeah.
And Forecaster was doing something very similar to Carta in just in the financial modeling space, where Carta was kind of the, we'll take care of your cap table, your equity.
Yep.
Forecaster was like, we'll do the same thing for your financial model.
Oh,
and
wow.
So they ended up bringing me on to build out their partnerships team. And while I was at Carta, I started something called Founders and Funders.
Yep.
And it started out in Utah, where we'd do these events.
Now I see you all over the place. It's hard to find you.
It is. It's starting to kind of explode. So I think last week we had an event in Salt Lake, and the same night we had an event in Miami. And so,
I hope you didn't have to make it to both.
No, I was not at both.
Okay, just making sure sometimes.
So,
well, that's cool. So you got Miami going. What other cities you got going?
So Phoenix, we've got Sean Huntington running things in Phoenix, Austin, New York. We're just getting an event get together in Tahoe in July, and so that should be a fun one.
You have a big
Boston.
one tonight. You got 25 tech founders.
25 tech founders tonight.
Who's going?
So we've got guys from Vose.
I'm trying to make it. So they've got crazy thing going on. So
if you can make it, that'd be awesome.
So they've got this. I know. I told my wife. I said we have to do a split because they've got this. That World Crossroads World Summit going on tonight.
Yes.
So they've got
the World Trade Center.
Yeah, World Trade Zions Bank, World Trade Center. So they've got President Bush there and Bear Grylls and some other. I'm like, I have to hit both of these events. So Jen is a trooper, and she's gonna help me.
Now that's tomorrow, right?
Well, they have the one tonight is actually at the Dinosaur Museum for the dinner.
Oh, gotcha.
And then it happens all day tomorrow. But yeah, it's kind of Scott Anderson's kind of big goodbye, I guess, from being Zions.
From Zions.
But yeah, I'm excited to see you tonight. That'll be pretty good.
Well,
Founders and Funders is rad.
It's been so much fun. It started out as a passion project. It started to really kind of take off. I'm seriously probably getting 2 or 3 people reaching out like on a monthly basis.
I love it.
Can we have a Founders and Funders in Atlanta or wherever?
No way.
So
well, that's really good for you.
Yeah.
We got Trevor here with Mtn Ops, CEO, founder, living up in Farmington just like you.
Close to
keeping
Jeff.
it real.
The north slope, right? North face of Silicon Slopes.
It's once you get there, you kind of never leave, I think. So
yeah, that's kind of weird that you went from Sandy up to Farmington. That doesn't happen very often, pulling up past that point.
And then my dad, he was the CEO of all the Wasatch Valley hospitals for IHC.
Oh, no way.
And that, just up to Bountiful, got him a little closer to headquarters.
That's right.
And so he just had to come around the mountain. So we moved up there when I was, at the end of elementary school, and then took off back east actually during high school. So had some experience back east in South Bend, Indiana, and then Washington D.C.
So are you a Notre Dame fan?
We had Notre Dame tickets. We were there, and it was awesome. The tradition and the history and everything there is pretty incredible. But part of his job package back there was Notre Dame tickets to both basketball and football.
Oh, that's rad. I would
Lou
be going
Holtz
all
lived
the time.
in my neighborhood there, so
no
it was
way.
his last year of coaching when we moved back there. So we would knock on his door for trick or treating and
no
such.
way,
Good
Lou.
guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude, that guy's the best. I love Lou Holtz. Well, tell me about the story about Mtn Ops.
Yeah,
how did you get it started? What? I mean, how did it all begin?
It all began actually a few years prior. The first product that I made was actually for my father, for his heart health. We've got a history of heart health issues in our family. He had just had a few stents put in his heart, couldn't feel his fingers and toes for a long time. And so when they put the stents in, they told him, you'll have open heart surgery in about 5 years. His dad died of a heart attack. My mom's dad died of a stroke. And so, we knew for me and my brothers, this is something we'd experience. But
pretty serious, yeah.
And I had just come off of a bunch of business failures. So I was like, what am I going to do next? I don't know. But my dad became my mission, and
really cool.
created a product for him. Started selling it actually through doctors' offices, and went well for a few years. But it was just a really slow, steady growth business. And then I met with a marketing agency where they were doing most of their marketing in the hunting and outdoor space. And I had about 5 products at the time, and I just said, is there a place for supplements in hunting in the outdoors in this
That's
segment. Their eyes kind of lit up, and they were like, if your products work the way you say they do, we could brand this the right way, and kind of the sky's the limits because nobody is going after this segment.
Oh, yeah.
And so in 2014, 10 years ago, we launched Mtn Ops, and the Ops standing for Outdoor Performance Supplements. The mountains can represent a lot in life, the mountains we face, the mountains we struggle to climb or to conquer, or the achievements we're trying to go after. And
so it's a daily use product that you could use anywhere, not just when you're hunting and fishing and all that
not
kind of
just
stuff.
for that, because most hunters hunt 7 to 10 days a year.
Yeah, so they better.
But they talk about it, they eat about it, they sleep about it. It's their passion. It's everything for them. And so we had a product that could ignite, or our number one product's called Ignite. I didn't mean to do that, but it could kind of give them that experience of the hunt without having to be out on the mountain all the time. They use their gun or their bow or their pack on those days when they're out in the field, but Mtn Ops could ignite that within them every single day.
Oh, that's really
and
cool.
help them feel kind of tied to their passion year round. Most of these guys are blue collar workers that are working long shifts.
Yeah.
So the products work when they're out on the mountain for a long period of time, but when they're working their day-to-day shifts, and their husbands, their fathers, their wives, their mothers, they've got this strenuous life that they.
And it helps with their heart health.
It starts with their heart with a lot of our products, and then we've got pre-workouts, proteins, meal replacements, the full lineup, as you can see with these products here, to really help with their wellness. We always say train inside, conquer outside. And so whatever their goals are, if they're wanting to lose weight or build strength or just feel connected, our brand is all about connection. And so a lot of times they'll just buy a shirt to begin with, or a hat.
That's
look
right.
at how good that looks on you. So
gorgeous.
the brand really hit the mark in a major way for this audience, and it spoke to them in a way that no other supplement company had. These guys aren't, they're not shopping in GNC, they're not working out in Gold's Gym, they're out in God's gym, and there wasn't really a brand that spoke to them that way. So we finally were. Our biggest hurdle was educating them on why they needed supplements this way and how these could help them live their passion longer.
What a smart niche. I never would have thought that, supplements in the outdoor space. So I'd imagine you're obviously you're like a SHOT Show would be kind of your main show to go to, an outdoor retailer. But being with like protein and everything else, you also kind of lean into mass as well, grocery and drug.
Yeah, and we haven't really tapped into that as much as we potentially can in the future, but
my local grocery store, I see your stuff, and I'm
maybe
like,
in Harmon's or somewhere. I don't know what your local grocery is.
It's called Stokes. So I live out in the boonies.
Okay.
And so basically, it's like a half Ace Hardware and then half of.
Okay.
That's probably
You're
why,
going
right?
in that direction, yeah.
See, you know me.
Yeah, your local grocery, Ace Hardware.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we found like our positioning, and that's where our customer is. I mean, it's farm and fleet, it's ranch type stores, it's the cow ranches, and
Tractor Supply,
and then into hunt and fish, where you've got Sportsman's Warehouse. Shields usually has a very large set of our product there.
Oh, really cool.
They're incredible. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, those types of retail shops that aren't the typical place for supplements, but we've created some incredible white space for those retailers. Where they're getting a residual customer coming through their doors, and the partnerships are incredible with them.
How hard is it to defend a channel that obviously you created a white space that we were just talking about, in outdoor hook and bullet, but now all of a sudden I'm sure you get a lot of copycats that are like, oh, I see some white space over here, and I want to do supplements for these outdoor dudes. Is it hard to defend, or tell us about that experience?
What we've decided is kind of blinders on, draw the line in the sand. Our core values are non-negotiable. So our audience, they'll sniff out a fake in a second. I mean, hunters they just don't go for it. Somebody that's just trying to be a fake or trying to get in.
They're loyal.
They're loyal. It's almost a fanatical, cultish type following where that is their passion. If you don't speak that way, if you don't resonate with them that way, it's
probably easier to defend that way.
A little easier to defend. We did a research study with a group called Mindsight about 2 years ago, and they put us up against all the major players in the supplement space, some that you've probably even had on your show here. Yeah. And it was interesting what they came back with. They came back, the headliner for Mtn Ops was, "You're a brand people trust."
Oh,
and that trust is incredible. For building longevity and relationships that will stand the test of time, even in economic times, when things are struggling. I'm going to spend my money with brands that I trust.
Yeah.
And so the big thing was with that, they'd break that down into this spreadsheet of here's all the responses as to why they trust, and it came back to our core values. recognizing God being the number one.
Oh,
so
really
our
cool.
audience, they're God-fearing,
Really cool.
truck-loving. You know, they love their country. They love.
You're kind of like a
they
mix
love their
between
land.
Rockwell watches and JoJo's chocolates, because
So-
you got the JoJo's chocolate type of story with his mom, and then Rockwell is a similar consumer base.
Yeah.
That is so.
So we're
interesting.
unapologetic about this is our stance. This is how we interact with you, and that's the experience we want to give you. And when you give them that experience that aligns with your core values and your mission, it enhances that brand experience anyone has, and that's our defense.
Yeah.
We are who we are, wherever we are, and we're going to stay true to that and true to the connection we've built with you, which is built around trust. And yeah, people try different things, but they taste and feel the difference in our product, and then they're tied to a brand that's not just helping them with their physical fitness. We focus on spiritual, physical, mental, social as our wellness
interesting.
routine. And
Very
so they get into this system of Mtn Ops, what we're all about. And part of the resource from the revenue that comes from these product sales goes towards feeding hungry children.
It's really cool.
My family.
You're my kind of dude. I like your whole platform.
No, it's a beautiful system, and it's authentic to us. I can speak to it from experience as a hunter, as a father, as a provider, as a father who hasn't been able to provide in the past, where I've gone through failures, where I've experienced the times when my family was the statistic. Up where Jeff and I live, it's 1 in 4 families, 1 in 4 children go home on the weekends without enough food in their pantries.
Oh, no way.
Our eyes were open to that because we were the 1 in 4.
Wow.
And so as I started to see all the correlations in our business where we were helping people supplement for their nutrition, we're out on the mountain bringing home our nutrition, and now there's this opportunity to use the eyes we've now been able to see with the need that was around us, a new heart to feel for that need, the empathy that was gained, and we were able to put that perspective and that learning in life to work, saying, okay, there's families that can't afford this. There's families that aren't out hunting, they maybe can't get out there. We can do something. We have an opportunity, a stewardship, and let's use some of this resource to feed those children, to feed those parents, to relieve the burden from these parents that are struggling each day to provide. And then you fill a belly with the food we're providing, but you're honestly removing a distraction from these children so they can go to school, they can connect with teachers, they can connect with their
They can move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs a
and
little
so they
bit.
can feel, hopefully some inspiration, some hope that somebody's aware, and that's what Mtn Ops is all about, helping people conquer more.
That's
spiritually,
beautiful.
physically, mentally, socially, and we start with these children, we start with these products, and how it's just evolved over time. It's pretty incredible.
Do you know Dan Higginson from Synergy or Taz Murray from True Fruit?
Mm-mm.
They'd be your type of people.
Awesome.
That just really cool, down-to-earth, like hunters and just very
Awesome.
honest. Like if you lead with the brand and they trust you, then it puts a lot of pressure on the integrity of the CEO.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That's interesting. I mean, I honestly hope that the way I come across to people is that they get one experience with me. They don't get me compartmentalizing life from here I am in business, here I am in church, in the community, with my family. It's like I am who I am wherever I am. Those core values,
the integrity of it,
Yeah, they weren't made up on the foundation of Mtn Ops. They were made up well before Mtn Ops. These were core principles and values that my
Really
parents
cool.
taught, that my brothers and I implemented into business as we did some things prior to this together. And I saw that they worked. And I had business failure, so I didn't see that it always meant the equation wasn't always this financial success, but it was being true to myself, which that integrity was most important.
Does your brand need help getting into retail stores? Volcanic Retail has helped over 500 brands break into new retail markets. Our dedicated outreach team utilizes an extensive database of retail buyers to ensure your products find their place on shelves across the nation. Not quite ready for retail? No problem. Volcanic Retail also offers comprehensive education courses designed to guide you through every stage of the retail process. Discover how we can help elevate your brand today. Visit us at info.volcanicretail.io for more information.
Mtn Ops stands on some pretty, we draw the line in some pretty significant ways where that core value of recognizing God, it's not a religious thing, it's a faith-based, it's a recognizing we have a higher power. Mm-hmm. I'm a religious person, but when it comes to it, like in the beginning when I decided, what does that mean? Sometimes it's just helping people see the good in them, and that way you're recognizing the good in them, you recognize what comes from God. But to the stance of, we exhibit at the Western Hunt Expo every year at the Salt Palace, big event, 50,000 hunters that come through there. We started out as one of the small booths. We are the biggest, best attraction there now, with an 80 by 100 booth that people come through. We have a stage, we have music, and it goes from Thursday to Sunday. But Mountain Ops is empty on Sunday. Mountain Ops is we're not there. That's a day we've dedicated to recognize God, to recognize that there's time for family we need, and that time and attention to them is so
really
important.
Cool.
And
kind of raising the bar for everyone else.
Raising the bar, and it's not to say those that are there, hey, you're not doing the right thing. It's just saying, hey, we're staying true to what we've committed to, and that goes back to my childhood, to be honest with you. And so I've had people ask, hey, you're a for-profit. That's a day you can gain some profit. Like, isn't there risk in doing that? And it's a good question, but to me, the bigger risk is with my God.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've decided to do. And I've seen the benefits, and I've seen in my family and the business and the opportunity to share in some way what we believe and who we trust to our consumer.
So my uncle started Macy's grocery store. Wow. They're kind of crazy because like Associated Foods has like 600 doors, and Macy's is only like 40 of them.
Wow.
But it accounts for like 30% of the revenue.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that was one of his big things. He was just like, because in grocery, it's kind of crazy. The net profit for the store is less than 1% typically in grocery. So you have to fight not only like theft and shrink and everything, but Sundays are a huge day because you just can't. It's really, really hard to operate without that day. But he did the same thing. He's like, I'm going to risk the whole company. But he ended up getting an incredible amount of followers because he did it. And that's why it's by far their most profitable chain. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. And honestly, you need a team. You need a hire for culture for that to really work, because it can't just be the CEO. It's got to be a team that buys in. You know, the words that are written on the wall as our core values, they're written on the hearts of the individuals at Mountain Ops. So I'm a simple guy, but I've got some incredibly talented people around me that do their jobs in an amazing way, but their heart that goes along with it, just like it's amazing. So it's their core values, it's their brand, and when we all align on that, we definitely enhance the experience that we all have and that our consumer has. But if we go against those core values, it diminishes the effect, it diminishes the integrity of the brand.
What are some of the SKUs and the new products that you're most excited about?
Yeah, we've got some incredible SKUs. Like I mentioned, with the first one started with my dad with some heart health, and then that spun off. It's actually right here. You can kind of see some of our packaging has changed, where the brand got a little small here, and the brand is what we're most proud of. And so we've now gone to this.
Absolutely, very prominent.
And it just pops off the shelf, and so we're really excited about that. But Ignite is our #1 seller. It takes that cardiovascular benefit that we put into the product for my dad, but then it also adds some caffeine for energy and some nootropics for a brain ignite and cognitive function blend. So that's the #1 seller. It's going really well. We come out with flavors all the time.
Is that like a daily use?
Daily use, yep. And some people will use it as their pre-workout because you do get the pump and blood flow to the muscles.
Okay. So like an alternative instead of like a pre-workout drink, like a caffeinated something.
Yeah. There was kind of a mistake with it. We started going down the path of trying to create a pre-workout for women, because we had our Yeti product, which was our pre-workout, and then a lot of women were telling us we don't want the creatine. I think creatine's back on the map as something everyone wants right now. But so we started to create this pre-workout for women without creatine, and then it was like, this is too good, everyone's loving it. We can't just brand it just for women, it's for everyone. So it's a daily energy, and it's become our #1 seller.
Wow, interesting.
So you've got a non-caffeinated kind of pre-workout energy and endurance product. You've got a true pre-workout in the product Yeti, and then Ignite is that 3-in-1, the cardio, energy, and brain ignite blend.
What are some of the most important ingredients when you're looking at something like a pre-workout? You've got a lot of mainstays, and you've got a lot of other things that maybe aren't so important.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you feel like are the most important?
For us, we
ingredients?
focused on all 3 of those products on the pump and blood flow to the muscle. For us, it's like protecting the heart and getting more blood flow and increased blood. That's honestly the most important thing. You can put a ton of caffeine in and just jack someone up for an hour, and get them all excited and the nervous system hit, but we didn't want just the jittery excitement that way. There is caffeine, and so people are going to feel the energy, but we wanted to fuel and send blood to the muscles so that as they're building, they have that muscle recovery, but in the right amounts. We put 5,000 milligrams of arginine and 1,000 milligrams of citrulline, both amino acids that produce nitric oxide in the body. So that's
interesting.
Nitric oxide is what you want in a pre-workout. So anytime you're looking at that, you usually see L-citrulline or L-arginine, those 2 amino acids. That's what helped my dad with his heart health, because it was a prolonged production of nitric oxide, so the increased blood flow was consistent throughout the day. And that's where we feel like our pre-workout is kind of differentiated, where you get that increased blood flow even post-workout to help the recovery process of the muscles.
So I'd imagine, given the supplement category that you're in, there's probably a significant amount of time that has to go in R&D. Of like, well, okay, so I'm sure you're reading the case studies of what product, what ingredients are working better, what products are working better, and saying, hey, look, we need to develop a new SKU based on X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Tell me about kind of the R&D side of your business.
It's an awesome process, and we've had some chemists that we've worked with now for the 14 years that I've been creating products, and they're incredible friends. A lot of times they're so bought into our brand that they're doing a ton of research for us ahead of time. They're like, hey,
awesome.
This would be the perfect ingredient, the perfect formulation for Mtn Ops. So they're kind of bought in on the brand, especially with what we're doing with these supplements and the revenue to help feed hungry children. They're like, hey, I want to buy in. I want to be a part of this. So we get formulation recommendations on a regular basis from them. But then we have an 8-man product team at Mtn Ops. We've got a regulatory guy he was, before joining Mtn Ops, he was our regulatory agent that would make sure that all of our manufacturing and GMP certifications, all that was done, that the product ingredients were clear on the labels.
Job.
It's important, because nothing will get in hotter water than making false claims. And the supplement industry is notorious for making false claims, false advertising, false transformations online. When I first got into it, I was seeing the same before and after stock photos on multiple different company websites, and I was like, how in the world do you compete online if everyone's hiding behind a computer, not creating trust, just selling these false claims and in a bottle? And
that's true, because in any in any industry, your closest competitors, they're either like making it more difficult to sell to your end consumers, or they're making it easier because they're a little bit trusted. Yeah. But if you're in a category which, may not be ideal in the trust level, then now you're swimming against the current. Yeah. And you're like, hey guys, come on, this, we're all kind of hurting each other right now if we don't kind of shape this whole thing up.
Yeah, there's so much media to go by, and so people that are online marketing experts can hide behind a screen and go and sell a bunch of a cheap product that doesn't have
crazy?
And so we put into our products that it affects our margin, because we put what we need to put into those. We spend about a year on this hydration product we call Hydrate, and you see a lot of hydration products out there right now, but a lot of them have high amounts of sugar. And even still don't taste very good. And we're all about flavor. When you taste these products, we want people to have a good experience with the flavor. So what we did was we put 1 gram of sugar, where some of our major competitors that a lot of you see on the shelves, they have 14 to 16 grams of sugar. 1 gram of sugar, but it's a specific sugar. It's called D-ribose, and it hydrates the cells. So it's not just for sweetening. It has some function in our product to help hydration. It's a 2-for-1. And so you now have this incredible hydration product where people, 70 to 80% of Americans are dehydrated, and we just don't know. We walk around like zombies, we're tired, and sometimes it's not more caffeine we need, it's more water. It's hydration, And so we've launched that about a year ago, and it's going extremely well. We feel like it could be a rival product as far as within our lineup to our Ignite product.
And that's true. Like, I just like, everyone else, I hit the gym, try to do it every day, but I was every breakfast and lunch was a protein bar, and a protein drink, and I just started cramping up so bad. Like, man, I gotta, and I just realized, well, even though I love those products, you also have to have water, believe it or not, in your kind of day.
Yeah, we make water taste good. I don't know. I'm not a fan of just straight water, so I've always been a guy that's mixed flavors. So we actually work with flavor technicians. That's their job. It's hard to become an actual certified flavor technician. So we've got some incredible resources that way that help us on these flavors. And then we've branched into the gummy market with some slumber gummies. It's a sleeping product. We do have it in a tea version with powder you mix in hot water or hot milk at night, and it's just the most enjoyable experience right before going to bed. But there's some people, they get to my age and such, they don't want to get up in the middle of the night to go pee, and so we did it in the gummies, and that's helping.
Honestly, that's like, it doesn't feel like it's like an epidemic where it feels like nobody after the age of like 40 can sleep anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal is behind that or whatever, but it's honestly a really
sleep is one of the
thing.
most searched terms on the internet, and people are needing it, and for so many reasons they're trying to find better sleep. So we created a product called Slumber. We created it a while ago, about 5 years ago, in the powder version that you drink before going to bed, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites. But a lot of our audience, they're out on the mountain. They don't want to get out of the tent in the middle of the night. So we thought, let's do a gummy.
By a bear in the middle of the night.
And so
they're not down with that.
So we put it in the gummy version, and that's awesome for kids as well. And it's not just melatonin. A lot of people say, is it just a melatonin product? And there is a little bit of melatonin, but there's some theanine, magnesium, hops extract. So it's a really good blend. We call it our hibernate blend. So
that's really cool. Yeah. How do you manage shelf life in your categories that you're in?
Yeah, it's interesting. Most of these have a 2-year shelf life. We do have one product called Ammo, and it's a meal replacement protein. It's got 4.5 servings of real fruits and vegetables, and then it's got some flaxseed that's cold milled, which means that it's cracked, and once it's exposed to air, it can spoil, and so that only has a 1-year shelf life.
Oh, interesting.
So we work with the retailers. We let them know, here's what we need to do on this product to move it through, and if it's getting to the end, we just need to start to.
So that SKU is probably better for higher performing stores.
Yeah. And honestly, we focus most of our SKUs around our hero products, and that product, it's an incredible product, awesome science behind it. Your mom's proud of you for getting your fruits and veggies in each day with just one scoop of it, but it's not the product we focus on at retail. It's these, the Ignite, the Yeti, the Enduro, those have a 2-year shelf life, and we've got really good turns, so it's not something we've had to struggle with.
Questions on Cabela's and Bass Pro. Did you sell to them before they merged?
Yeah.
So has that helped or hurt you?
We sold to just Cabela's before they merged.
So it probably opened you up to more doors.
It opened us up to more doors, but Bass Pro Shop in the beginning didn't quite understand it. They're like, this is some supplements. They ended up honestly putting us into locations that didn't make sense right off the bat. But Cabela's brought us in first. It was actually really good. They called us 6 months into the existence of Mtn Ops. Honestly, I'd been down here to the point of the mountain, walked through Cabela's thinking, one day this is where we will be.
It's our dream store.
And then we got a call just right after that. And they said, could you come up to Sidney, Nebraska?
Yep.
And we missed our flight because of a storm.
No.
And we called and we were like, we're so sorry. We will rent a car right now. We'll drive up there. And they're like, don't worry about it. Like, come up in 2 weeks. And we thought, oh no, 2 weeks, like this, too much time is going to pass. Like we were so nervous and excited and everything. And finally the 2 weeks came. We got there, drove in, flew into Denver, drove into Sydney, went in with this presentation. Me and my partner had kind of been going through our mind. Here's how we're going to pitch this, and that. They come walking in, and they're like, okay, we want to bring you guys in, and here's what we want to do. And we're like, well, do you want us to give our spill or our pitch?
They just wanted it right off the bat.
We're like, we're ready to share some things, but they wanted it. They saw what the brand was doing to disrupt the marketplace online and in social, and they saw the ambassadors that we were able to get on board at the early stages that were credible to them.
So to them, they're thinking, this is an add to market basket strategy. This is dollars out the door that we can pick up with something new. That it's not like just replacing one gun with another gun, right?
We weren't replacing anything. We were complete.
You're adding something
incremental sales for them.
Wow.
And so increasing that order value for them and the repeat nature of their business, because a lot of these specialty retailers, they don't get the people back there every week or every month. Maybe a couple, 2-3 times a year. But we were kind of their hub now for people to come in from the local community to pick up their Mtn Ops products, and so. They were big on the ambassadors we had chosen to work with. Again, had to have aligned with our core values, but they were big names. These were guys like Cam Haines. People outside of the hunting industry haven't necessarily heard of him, but he's best friends with Joe Rogan. He's on his show quite often. He has one of the top-rated podcasts right now, the Keep Hammering podcast. This guy. So many records out there for running, and his whole preparation, his whole running routine, usually a marathon a day, is to prepare for his elk hunt. That's why he's doing it.
Okay, kids on social media. It's been all over the news. Even the Surgeon General has issued a warning about social media's impact on your young mental health. As parents, we need to connect with our kids, but we don't want to hand over the whole internet to them. So what do? Gab is the solution. They are the leading safe tech company for kids. They have engineered phones and watches without social media or internet browser apps, but with all the good stuff kids want, like safe music, streaming, and messaging. Use code WARGAMES the whole month of July for 50% off a safe Gab device. Gab, safely connected.
And he's so recognized in our industry. And then guys like Jim Shockey, Eva Shockey, the godfather, the huntress of the industry,
No way.
they joined us right out the gates. And there was this
value.
trust and connection.
Get them, or did they come to you?
We went out and got them. We had to go introduce ourselves to them, but it was usually at an event where we were, hey, try this product.
It's
Here's
kind of
what
a
we
natural
are.
fit.
Just a natural fit. They were into fitness. They were into nutrition. They were definitely into hunting. Most of these people are they love that we recognize God and actually had some core values to kind of hang our hat on and that we were trying to align with and build our business around. And so, we just got a guy, Rich Froning, the 8-time fittest man on earth from the CrossFit Games. And he just signed with us, and he had multiple other bigger supplement brands that were coming his way and offering him much more. But it came down to, and when he told us we're going with Mtn Ops, it was like we knew all along. And it was because of you guys and your core values.
No way.
And it came down to that. And so much of these individuals place, reputational risk as the highest thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's money involved elsewhere or whatnot, but
they don't want to ruin their own brand.
That's so important. And for us as Mtn Ops as well, we do not want to risk our reputation. It just, a dollar cannot buy that for me.
So you feel like, it seems like just like a round peg in a round hole with a lot of what you've done. It seems like natural fits. Like Cabela's is kind of fascinating. I remember learning in college that before it actually came to Utah, how big of a destination store it is.
Yeah.
They say, I think the average person drives over an hour to get to a Cabela's.
Yeah.
And wherever they put a Cabela's, it typically increases their economy in that city.
Yeah.
And this is like before Silicon Slopes ever became a thing. And they dropped the Cabela's up here, and it just so happened that, all of a sudden it became like this big old place.
Yeah.
It's
It's like a
interesting.
Disneyland for the people in this industry. They might frequent it twice a year, but they drive for long distance. I know people that camp out in the parking lot with their camper. It's definitely a destination. Bass Pro Shop's the same.
Same way. So is it, how important is the catalog compared to other aspects of sales with Cabela's? Being in the catalog?
We haven't done much with their catalog.
Oh, really?
We push, there's a little bit, but we push most of it just on
direct
social media. And we make sure to give love to our retail partners there through our email database and through social media and through our partnerships. And that's where we do most of it.
So what type of sales turn is a store like Cabela's or Bass Pro or Shield's typically looking for with some of these SKUs?
They're probably like a 4, and we're usually doubling that. So
at 4 units, per store per month? Yeah. And you're doubling that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So 1 unit per store per week.
And it's different depending on the size of the location and the demographic around them. But and then Farm and Fleet and Ace Hardwares and stuff like that, it's all a little different. But we're usually doubling their typical turn.
Do you see a day when Lowe's and Home Depot go into the supplement game?
Yeah, if you're listening, please give us
a call.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. It makes a lot of sense for us, and so there's been some conversations. We actually just got our first order from Costco as well. So
is that inline roadshow?
It's a business centers actually.
The business
it's a
centers.
good step into that for us because
Get you your vendor number.
We honestly are we're trying to be careful with how we approach retail. We don't want a black eye because we can't fulfill. We can't do our side of the deal. And so, and even for an acquirer in the future, we want to leave some meat on the bone. So we're strategic about the accounts we go and get. We want to win in those. We want to prove those out. And so we've got an awesome team. Our VP of Sales, Darren Yates, is just incredible. He understands this space really well, understands retail really well, and we're building. We're kind of win where in is our focus right now. Right now with the doors we've got, we're expanding door count within the accounts we have, but we're focused on velocity with those. And we even do, like in a couple weeks, I'll go up to Murdoch's in Bozeman, Montana, one of the Farm and Fleet. And they wrote us a check for $35,000. They were at one of our Conquer Hunger events. They saw what we were doing. They understood, oh, part of what we're doing with you is providing meals for children in need. So when these retail partners understand that they are part of that resource as well, one of the owners came up to me at the end of that event.
No way.
Wrote a $35,000 check and said, we want this to go towards food. We'll provide the helping hands up in Bozeman. Just bring the event to us. So
beautiful.
At the end of June, we'll go do that. We've done it with the CEO and their team at Cow Ranch stores. We just did one with Sportsman's Warehouse with their whole management team, about 150 people. We packed 50,000 meals in an hour and a half.
No way.
I'm able to share my story of struggle and such, and then they get to see beyond the mark. You know, it's like in scripture it says don't look beyond the mark, but in this it's Mtn Ops, like there's so much to this mark. Yeah. And if people look beyond the mark, they see this heart and soul of this business. This is the supplement brand, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it's deeper than just the commerce of it.
It's improving lives. And so when these retail partners can see that they are a part of that system, there's this major buy-in. And then the buyers get on board and they collaborate with us more. And so it's been incredible to build those relationships through what we are doing together in the community and enlighten them and help them understand, like, this relationship of ours with you is fueling this.
So I've got a question for you. So you've got True Value, Ace, Do It Best. They're run obviously quite a bit different than Lowe's and Home Depot, where there are a lot more franchise models. Mm-hmm. How do you penetrate that? And how do you pick up, how do you sell them more than one piece at a time? How do you make it efficient for your sales team? Yeah,
that's a good question and a better question for our sales team because they understand it a lot better than me. But there are regional and national events for like an Ace Hardware where the franchise owners all come together. We're at those events. Yeah. We're exhibiting at those, and so we're trying to work with different regions or national groups that can help.
Yeah.
And then
some own many franchises, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier.
And there's relationships with, I don't know the guy, but Darren Yates, he's working with the guy here in Utah that owns, I think 28 stores or whatnot in the region. And so there's those types of events that bring it all together that allow us to speak to them so that we're not hitting one door at a time. And then groups like Murdoch's and Cow Ranch and such, they're all a part of a group called Mid-States. Oh, yeah. And we were their vendor of the year last year, vendor of the year.
Good for you.
And we were also invited to their summit where they invite only like 10 brands. They've got, 2,000 brands that they're buying from. But they invite about 10 every year to their summit. It was in Charleston, South Carolina, Kiowa Island, actually. And we were at this hotel. They invited us to come. We got to meet with every store owner and their buyers, just kind of through a speed dating round. Yeah. And then they asked Mtn Ops to provide the service project. So it was our first out-of-state Operation Conquer Hunger event. We had to work with suppliers out there to buy all the food. We had to work with the food pantry out there to get the food distributed to after. But they had 300 people at this event, and that's when that lady came up to me, the owner of Murdoch's, and said, I had no idea what we were supporting. I had no idea the heart and soul of this business. Yeah. We love the sales that we've got coming through. Like, it's been an incredible partnership, but now it's personal. And so that check was written. And so there's groups like that we're able to work with, and sometimes it's by invite only, and sometimes that comes, I would say, more times than not, by the trusted connection we make with those partners because of our core values and because of what our approach to this life and business. So,
do you feel, I don't know if you've kind of gone after these markets or not, but do you sell to places like AFES and military?
Again, if you're listening, we are.
Okay.
AFES would be. You look at our brand, it looks like a military shield, right? Yeah. And so we often have times people come up to us, thank you for your service. I'm like, if you're talking about Conquer Hunger, okay, but I'm not a military individual. I haven't served in the armed forces, but we have an incredible special ops program on our website, and we have a lot of military tactical individuals that this brand just makes sense to them, because most of them, they're familiar with the outdoors, they're familiar with hunting, they're more familiar with supplements than our hunting audience because they're usually kind of into some fitness prior to, and so that's one we haven't been able to figure out. But I think it's a gold mine for us and an opportunity that just is going to be, as soon as we can figure it out, it's going to work.
You need to go meet with tonight, tomorrow's Bear Grylls. He's in town.
He's here in Utah?
Yeah, I think he'd be a good natural fit for you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's true.
Something else that's coming up is the Outdoor Retailer Show. Are you guys going to be there? Are you guys...
We haven't attended. We've gone and walked the floor and had some meetings just on the side and such, but we've never had a booth there. But yeah, it'd be good for us to check out.
It's a really fun show. Their summer shows just And I'm really glad they came back to Utah because they went over to Colorado for a while. They saw a big decrease in attendance because they're mountain. I mean, they have these demo shows that, the day before. Yeah. And the problem is when you're in Denver, you have to still drive an hour to get to the mountains.
Yeah.
And here, they're just like, okay, well, we're 5 minutes away. So it's been a big difference, but just it's a really fun show.
Yeah.
Just like when you first walk into the Salt Palace and you hear like the little clicking that they have going on, and you just kind of get jazzed because you're like, okay, I get to see all my buds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's just down to earth, cool people, and both. I mean, they cover both, right? I mean, you'll see buyers there from Hook and Bullet, like Cabela's and Bass Pro, and you'll see Teva buyers from REI.
Yeah.
And you'll see Costco buyers.
Yep.
But it's a great show.
Yeah, it's funny. I go shop at REI and I'll see their associates wearing Mtn Ops shirts and such. So sometimes there is this conflict between the two. But honestly, so many people. A lot of people are hunt curious these days and more cautious and more concerned about where they're getting their protein. And so they're kind of more people are open to the idea of going out and getting that clean source of protein, but there still is some of that conflict of, and that was, when we started Mtn Ops, I was new to hunting. I was not against it at all, but I had to come to learn what it was about, conservation efforts, and I've been eating meat my whole life, and so that came from somewhere. I might as well get it for myself, and so.
So just kind of switching gears here just for a minute. We're just chatting with Mackenzie Bowers from Thread, and talking about social platforms make a lot of sense for a brand like that, right? I mean, it's very natural, Instagram type of brand, TikTok type of brand. How important or not important do certain social media platforms, how important are they for a company like Mtn Ops, which, your customer may or may not be as much on social media?
Yeah.
Tell me kind of a little bit about your outreach there.
The hardcore customer of ours is probably trying to avoid it as much as possible, but so much of their connection to the industry and to people they love and everything is there as well. So
people are still there.
They might not be. So they're there. Yeah, and we're. It's honestly one of our biggest platforms that we've used to build. We bootstrapped this company. We didn't have a lot of funding to get started. We didn't go out and raise money. We bootstrapped it. And
which social platforms are best performing?
Honestly, Instagram and Facebook are where we are. We've got a private group on Facebook that pretty much anyone that agrees to abide by our rules in the Facebook group can join. And there's thousands of people in there, and it's really cool because they're in there supporting each other, and they're encouraging each other. They're educating each other on our supplements, so that we have less customer service calls because they're kind of answering the questions for each other.
What's the group called?
It's just the Mtn Ops Conquer More community.
No way.
And so go and join it. You'll see all these people that have been through some major transformations. We run different challenges in there. So we just had 2 people in our office last week to surprise them with their $10,000 check each. A man and a woman who had been through these 90-day transformations.
No way.
And it was incredible. Last year's was a 6-month transformation, $30,000 for each winner. And we'll run a few of those throughout the year, but they just transform. It's incredible. But when you sit down and talk to them, yes, it begins with the physical, but the way they become as a husband, father, wife, mother, it's like, I am running around with my kids like I never was before. I've got the energy to keep up. So we see our mission fulfilled through that. And then on Facebook and Instagram, we have hundreds of thousands of followers there, and they want to consume whatever content we put out. Especially if it's relevant to them. We can educate them on the product. We can entertain a bit through, what we're doing. Our team at Mtn Ops goes on a lot of hunts throughout the year, and so we try to capture content and put it out there showing that, hey, we're living the brand. We usually take ambassadors and customers with us on those. So
I was about to ask, given your type of product and kind of its appeal to the end consumer, ambassadors are probably quite a bit more important than influencers.
Yeah.
With your type of product, people that actually use them, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a little more engagement from them with their audience, and it's just a little more real. So but for us, we don't have a huge list of ambassadors or influencers. We're pretty strict on who we want involved, and they've got to align well.
Who are some of your favorite ones that have done the best for you, ambassador-wise?
Oh, there's a group called Hush. And it's Hush and Hunt and Fish, and they're YouTubers, and they're incredible individuals. They've been with us from the very beginning. They put out amazing content. They're true to the brand. Some of the new ones, like the Rich Froning within the CrossFit space, is opening us up to a new audience. Cam Hanes is He's our biggest one for sure.
Do you do FitCon?
We haven't been to FitCon. There's a lot we need to get to.
I'm amazed how many brands do well at FitCon.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many, and honestly, it's never really been highly on my radar, but it's amazing how many founders that they've really succeeded at FitCon.
It makes sense, and we should be there. It's kind of, getting the bandwidth to make it to all these events. We're at kind of non-traditional type events, bow shoots and stuff like that, where we're out in the outdoors at a ton of events, and that's where our team has spent most of their efforts. But these are opportunities we want to take advantage of for sure.
Well, it's super cool to get to know you both, Jeff. Obviously, your founders and funders and everything you have going there, and forecaster, and it's been fascinating watching you fly across the world every day. And I think you've created an incredible business model, and you, Trevor, obviously with Mtn Ops, super cool story.
I appreciate it.
You'd be super proud of yourself. Where do you see, as we kind of wrap up, where would you like to see the brand expand over the next 5 years? What channels or stores are kind of?
I mean, there's some mass retail that we'd like to be in. And I'm excited for this new Costco account and what growth can come from that. And we have an expansion plan back to the east. I mean, 10% of the hunting industry is here in the West Coast. 90% is back in the east.
Oh, I had no idea.
But the West Coast influences the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so there is way more opportunity back there.
Appalachian Mountains and all that stuff.
Yeah, so there's retailers, there's events, there's ambassadors that we're now starting to form relationships with that is just it's just scratching the surface for us, and the market penetration we have the opportunity to go and gain is pretty incredible. So
you need to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and say, hey, you know what? You've got too big of a candy snack aisle. Yep. Why don't we replace some of this stuff? And honestly, it's a good initiative. They've got quite a few different areas I think that they could cross merchandise in the store, but it just makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, really cool. Well, thank you both again for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is awesome.
Wish you the best in the future.
Thank you.
Are you a CEO wanting to ensure that your team excels in retail? Enroll them in Volcanic Retail University today. Gain access to comprehensive training and the latest industry insights. Visit university.volcanicretail.io and use code podcast50 for a 50% off discount.